Best on Tour this week is presented by Best on Tour. Sign up for free at bestontour.net. Welcome to another exciting edition of Best on Tour this week, presented by Best on Tour for the week of August 18th, 2025. I am Matt Pangrac along with Dave Rush from Best on Tour. And Dave, we are starting to see everything take shape across the landscape of professional fishing in 2025 as a lot of interesting stories that played out throughout the year came to a conclusion in Toyota Series and the Bassmaster Opens and upcoming this week on the Bassmaster Elite Series.
Yeah, definitely, Matt. Season winding down, but a lot of stuff at stake and a lot of questions getting answered here at the end of the season about who's going to qualify, requalify, advance to championships, and so forth. So still busy in the world of professional tournament fishing.
We'll kick things off up north where they had the Thousand Islands Open and MLF Invitational, a Bassmaster Open, and most recently the MLF Toyota Series on the St. Lawrence River out of Messina, which some records were broken. First and foremost, a big win by Brody Campbell. No secret that this guy can catch fish and has been in the winner's circle numerous times. Impressive weights to get things done on the St. Lawrence.
Yeah, he bookends the season. He won the opener of the Toyota Series season on Sam Rayburn. Barely missed out qualifying for the Bass Pro Tour via the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals with a 47th place finish at the SLR a few weeks back. Only missed qualifying by 1 point, but took a little bit of the sting out by getting a win there at the SLR.
Record broken on day two of that event. Eric Luzak from Canada came in with a 31-pound 5-ounce limit of smallmouth bass out of the St. Lawrence. He had a 7-pounder and then a 7.15 for his two big fish on that day. Only caught 6 fish during the entire day, making a long run from Messina. Said he got to fish for about 4 hours of that event. A prototype lunker hunt twitchy twitch. Got the job done on 3 different sizes, primarily 2 different sizes, a 1/4 and a 3/8 ounce jig head on that minnow, but a day that will not soon be forgotten by Eric Luzak. The last giant limit, if you remember, that we had weighed in was during the Bassmaster Elite Series last year when Brian Smith made an epic comeback with a 29+ pound bag of smallmouth, but not only cracking that 30-pound bag, but that 31.5, pretty impressive for Eric, who ended up finishing third in that event.
Yeah, with weights like that, no secret on why the major tournament organizations keep returning to the St. Lawrence River. Always a good crowd, and the fishing never disappoints.
We'll keep it up north, but we'll move a little bit further west to Leech Lake in Minnesota, where the talk of that tournament heading into the final stop of Division II of the Bassmaster Opens was how much smallmouth would play on Leech Lake. It turns out that a familiar last name wins with 10 largemouth.
Yeah, Laker Howell getting the job done and doing it the way he likes to do it. Up shallow, some frogging going on, largemouth. End up taking the day there at Leech Lake, but I know the weather had a lot to do with that as well.
Yeah, Division II with 4 tournaments, 3 tournament days, 12 days scheduled in that division. There were 3 weather shortened events in that division, ended up only fishing 7 days, but Laker Howell uses a discontinued snag-proof frog in moss back color to weigh a 1910 a largemouth on the first day and 20 pounds 3 ounces on the second day, to become one of very few father-son tandems who are going to say they've both been able to fish in the Bassmaster Classic. Obviously, his father, Randy, won in their hometown there of Gunnersville, or after they had moved there, won that Bassmaster Classic, but he punches his ticket to the Bassmaster Classic. And more importantly now, the Division I and Division II are finished for the top 50 in each division to move on to the elite qualifiers, which kick off in just a few short weeks up north.
Yeah, Laker Howell giving himself an opportunity to not only fish the Bassmaster Classic, but if he wins, become the only father-son tandem to have Bassmaster Classic titles. EQs starting off here shortly. We have the final qualifying standings are out. Division I of the Opens, Lucas Lindsay takes the first place. First place there, and a familiar face, Chad Pipkins, sneaks in at 50th. So Chad will also be competing in the EQs. Division 2, Pake South, the number one angler there, and Lane Olson takes the 50th spot. So looking to be a really competitive EQ event.
The AAA divisions dominated this past weekend on the professional scene, but the Elite Series for the second time in 3 weeks is back in action, kicking off on Thursday. The final stop of their season in a squeaky tight Angler of the Year race takes place at a familiar venue, La Crosse, Wisconsin, for the final stop of the season. Trey McKinney tied with Chris Johnston, who is looking for back-to-back Angler of the Year titles, both with 690 Angler of the Year points. Then Kyoya Fujita is in third, but 40 points, a full 40 points behind those two. We'll see how things shake up this week on Bass Live, but it appears to be a shootout between the reigning and defending Angler of the Year champion Trey McKinney. If you remember last year, would have been in that same position had it not been for a disqualification of a day one wait due to inadvertent rules infraction. So we could see one of the youngest Angler of the Year champions in Trey McKinney, but also there's another cut line in that. Roughly the top 40 make the 2025 Bassmaster Classic, and there are some familiar names with a rich history on the Mississippi River out of La Crosse who are vying for those final Bassmaster Classic spots in 2026.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a tournament you want to keep track of. A lot of things at stake on a familiar fishery, as you say. But one thing about La Crosse, Mississippi River, it is constantly changing. So experience can play a role, but grass, current breaks, all kind of things change. So definitely going to need to adapt to the current conditions to do well there at La Crosse.
Currently first out and 41st is Brandon Lester, followed by Wisconsinite Pat Schlopper, who is in 42nd, made a big jump in the standings after he won earlier this season on the Sabine River. And then in 43rd, Brandon Polinick, who has also had great success, was leading a tournament one of the first times that they went to the Mississippi River up in La Crosse. Do want to mention dropping down to 45th place is Kyle Patrick, suffered a tick bite, which resulted in some heart complications, and doctors' orders could not have a raised heartbeat for several months. So he is taking a medical exemption for the rest of the year. He was firmly inside of that top 40 Bassmaster Classic cut, but after the two events has fallen to 45th. So that will open up one more spot as Kyle Patrick supposed to make a full recovery, but recovers, does not raise that heart rate, and returns to competition in 2026. But a lot on the line for the Elite Series, as well as we are on the verge of hearing the names and the points as who is requalifying for the Bass Pro Tour in 2026 after they make the cut from 65 down to 50, and the 10 anglers who will be dropped from the Elite Series. A lot of mathematical figuring left to go on in those respective divisions.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. We are going to determine a lot of guys' careers, whether they proceed on the Bass Pro Tour, Elite Series, and so on here shortly.
In the bass fishing industry, a little bit of notice as far as prices at the checkout line, Dave.
Yeah, talk of the industry, Matt. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've heard about all these tariffs. Tariffs are finally coming to bear here on the fishing industry. Companies are announcing price increases to the dismay of many consumers. One major one of note, Kitech recently announced up to a 25% increase on their products due to tariffs. A lot of other companies are following suit with similar increases, some a little less. So it's all over the board, but definitely going to feel it in your wallet for the foreseeable future on any products that are imported from Japan or China.
Become a better angler. Get behind the scenes of the top fishing tours. Learn the business side of the fishing industry and how to get sponsorships. The Best on Tour newsletter brings you that once a week, completely free. Sign up for now, bestontour.net. Any more takeovers this year with the Best on Tour newsletter, Dave?
Yeah, we got a few coming up, Matt. We've got a few surprise ones, some that you kind of outside of the box ones. So we're really looking forward to some of those. But coming up soon, delivered right to your inbox every Thursday, 10:05 Central.
Fantastic. That's another edition of Best on Tour this week. In the bass fishing industry, both on and off the water. For Dave Rush, I am Matt Pangrac. We'll talk to everybody then. See ya.